Yes! Oh man, welcome to Mock Draft Wednesday. And man, I'm very excited. Get to talk football, get to do my favorite thing in the world is to talk football. What I might do is after the live stream's over, I may rebroadcast as a video, put the chapters in. That way you can just bounce around if you're watching this on the rebroadcast. If you just want to go to your particular team, you can go ahead and you can do that. Very excited. Mock Draft 2.0, no trades. And even though I'm not a big fan of it, I'm going to go ahead and start off. I'm not a big fan of it, but I am going to use PFF's mock draft tool, which I'm going to have pulled up here for you guys. Because I'm only using the free version, you can only do one per day. I'm working with Pro Football Sports Network. The version they have is free. You can make trades. You can use it as often as you want, but there's a lot of ads in it. I'm working with them. They're going to have a ad-free version for content creators, but I'm not exactly sure when it's going to come out. So today we're using PFF, even though it's free. And I may do a mock draft with trades, but for whatever reason, I'm having an issue here. Here we go. Okay. I may do a mock draft with trades, but whether I do one with trades or without trades, I'm always going to have Fernando Mendoza be the number one pick. I'm going to say this over and over and over again. If I was the Raiders, I would auction off this draft pick. I would see what you can get in the open market between the Jets and the Arizona Cardinals. You may be able to get something that's too good to pass up. I would roll with Geno Smith and see what you can get. If you can get maybe 3 number ones and another player, I would strongly suggest maybe you go ahead and do that. Not because I have anything against Mendoza. It's just you may be able to get something that's too good to pass up. I don't think the Raiders are going to do that. If I'm Mendoza, I'm shopping for homes here in the Vegas area right now. Now, with the Jets at 2, I'm going to go with Arvell Reese as the pick, but I want to be very clear about this. I feel like I'm getting bullied here into doing this because every mock draft has Arvell Reese going to the Jets. I would not do this at all. I would go receiver here and get a day one starter to go opposite Garrett Wilson, but I keep seeing it over and over and over again. So, Corey, welcome, brother. Any pick that's not Mahoga for us at 3 is incorrect. That's actually who I have. I have Mahoga. I'm probably butchering that. I've seen some people think that Spencer Fano is a better prospect. Maybe, but I don't think so. I think this is a day one starter at right tackle. The one thing I will say is that I remember Dick Vermeil saying that you don't take a offensive lineman in the first 5 picks unless you're convinced he is going to be a Hall of Famer. I'm not convinced. This isn't Orlando Pace Jr., but that's kind of what I think Arizona's going to do. I would strongly suggest maybe going in a different direction, maybe going David Bailey here because you only had 30 sacks. Josh Sweat at 12.5. You got to get him some help, but that's what I would do, though. But I'm convinced Jets should just take Downs, best player in the class, and that team is awful. I would go receiver personally. You need a day one starter. I know you're very high on Downs. I don't think you take a safety at 2. That's just my personal opinion. But that's where Downs goes in this draft is going to be very interesting because you're not alone in that Caleb Downs might be the best player in this class. But let's knock this out right now. Mauga is going to go to the Cardinals at 3. So the first 3 picks I'm going to show you: Mendoza, Reese, Mauga. I feel pretty confident this is the way the draft's going to go. Even if I do a mock draft with trades, I'm probably not going to trade my first 4 picks. But as far as the Jets are concerned, I keep seeing Reese as the pick. Tennessee Sprinton Bain right here. I don't have Bain. I have David Bailey instead. PFF likes Ruben Bain. I think the arm length is an issue. I do think that that's going to prevent him from going in the top 5. There is a possibility that Tennessee overlooks that, but in the wide 9 defense that Saleh has, I think they're going to take Bailey. I think he fits like a hand in a glove, but there's a lot of people, again, that are like Corey that thinks that Ruben Bain is, I mean, I'm using PFF's tool here, and I'll show you right here. Let me change this here. I thought I liked that, the big banner here. I thought I liked that, but yeah, I had a smaller one. I don't know what happened to it, but anyway, I'm gonna remove that. It's a little big here. You know this is Dan Talks Football. You don't need it to be that big. Bain just wins, and he plays good tackles in practice every week anyways. I'm not disagreeing with that. The reason why I got Bailey is that I think he's going to be very impressive at the combine. I think he's going to run. I think he's going to jump. I think he's going to interview well. I think that speed is something that Saleh defense really is going to focus on. Bain's not going to test out as well. The arm length is an issue. Every time I see a mock draft, people say, "Oh, the arm length doesn't matter." It does matter. I mean, physical attributes matter in the NFL. You know, I'm 5'8", 170. I'm not playing corner in the NFL. There is 5'8", 170 corners in the NFL, but you know, not in round 1. So I think the arm length is going to be an issue. I do think Tennessee just is going to like Bailey here. So the first 4 picks, even if I do a mock draft with trade, these are going to be my first 4 picks. I think 5 is where you could get a trade. Kansas City's a team I think could go from 9 to 5, and I think it could be Bain. Could be a receiver. With the situation that happened with Pierce, the character issues of Bailey are going to cause him to fall. That is a definite possibility. For those of you who aren't aware, like James Pierce, I kind of want to touch base on that because I don't know exactly what's going to happen. Sometimes things get overblown, but the situation with Pierce, the way it looks like it appears he may miss the whole season. And by the way, Pierce was a guy I was mocking to go to San Francisco at 11. I had that locked, and there was a legitimate off-field concern. So he ended up going 27 to Atlanta, and the issues with Bailey are legitimate, but I don't think that they're going to cause him the fall. I think that when he interviews, Pierce looks like he could do 5 years. Yeah. That situation with Pierce is terrible, but I think Bailey I think it's a different thing, but we're going to hear more and more about it. But just from what I've seen, he fits in that Saleh scheme perfect. But out of the trades that are going to happen, if I do a mock draft with trades, this is where I think the first trade would happen, would be New York. I'm looking at Kansas City. There is a possibility maybe the Saints want to jump up here. You could do a couple different trade situations here, but the city stated happened and carry paroles for felonies like what Pierce did, assaulting a law enforcement officer, among many other things. It's there's a lot that happened with Pierce that yeah, it doesn't look good. But I kind of don't want to speculate on that. Uh, I I meant to, and I didn't have a chance to do it. I also have a 7-round Chiefs mock draft I'm going to try to release later this week before I do my mock draft 3.0. But if I do a mock draft with trades, I am going to do some trades. This would probably be the first spot. I also want to do what the Falcons are going to do in round 2. Falcons, Colts, Packers, and there's another team. Oh, Jacksonville. If I do a mock draft with trades, I'm going to have what those 4 teams are going to do as well. So, but yeah, Pierce probably is not going to play this year. Probably. I feel pretty confident in that, to be perfectly honest. If I was doing trades, this is probably where I would have my first trade. But I'm not gonna have any trades in this mock draft. I think the Giants are going to go ahead and go with and wow, he's way down here, but Spencer Fano. I think that's going to be the pick for the Giants. I personally believe that the Giants, what you want to do is solidify the offensive line. Keep in mind, and I'm going to keep saying this over and over and over again. It depends on what's going to happen in free agency because they're starting right tackle Ulam. I'm going to butcher the name of it. He came from the Raiders. Didn't play as well with the Giants as he did the Raiders. I think solidifying the offensive line is what the Giants are going to do at 5. Now, who they're going to take, if Fano goes to Arizona at 3, Maga is going to go to the Giants at 5. So it's going to be interesting to see which one the Cardinals take. Yeah, this is the guy's name. Ulamore. He's a free agent. When he was with the Raiders, he played really well. And then he parlayed that because what happened is he was thrust into the starting lineup. And he ended up playing a lot better than the guy who was the starting right tackle for the Raiders, left in free agency, didn't do that well with the Giants. But if the Giants decide, hey, listen, we're going to work with you, you're here, you got ability. And this is a starting caliber right tackle. This is not like this is a guy that can't play. So if you go ahead and you draft Elam, or if you go ahead and you re-sign Elamore, you can go corner. You could take downs. You could go receiver. You can do 101 different things. You're not alone. You're not alone thinking that. I saw a lot of mock drafts with Mason Delore, the corner out of LSU, going there. I've seen a lot of them with your boy Downs going there. But I personally think that what they're going to do is go tackle. Now, in your situation where the Giants would go receiver, maybe Downs, Cleveland at 6, I would have taken an offensive lineman. Yeah, Mansour Delane. Yeah. And I've seen a lot of mock drafts where this is the corner out of LSU. Almost universally, everybody has this as the best corner in the draft. There are some questions about his long speed, his arm length, how he's going to do at the combine. But there's a chance that if he has a good combine, he's going to be the pick at 5 because the Giants need some help at corner. One thing about this draft is that this is an underrated draft as far as secondary players. There's some good safeties. There's some really good corners. I can promise you that you're going to have some guys drafted between rounds 3 and 5 that are going to be day 1 starters in the secondary in this draft. This is a good draft. Cleveland, they'd take a lineman with one of these picks. Their O-line is god-awful. And I think it's either 4 or 5 of them are free agents, too. They have a lot of free agencies. They had a lot of injuries. But the way that this mock goes, you have 2 offensive linemen off the board. So if you have 2 offensive linemen off the board, I think that you go in another direction. I got them going receiver. I'm going to have them taking the local kid, Carnell Tate. And they need help at receiver, too. They only got 1 starting caliber receiver. And I think that they take the local kid. He's going to sell a lot of jerseys. He's going to be a very popular pick there even though I think he's from Florida, but he's going to be a very popular pick here for Cleveland. Washington at 7 takes Ruben Bain, and I don't see Washington doing anything other than defensive end. There is a possibility they could go receiver here. There's a lot of things that Washington could do, but I firmly believe that what Washington's going to do is take the best available defensive end, shore up that pass rush, which was something that was really terrible last year. There is some talk that Deebo Samuel is going to be a cap casualty. I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but if he is a cap casualty, receiver is definitely in the mix for Washington. The Saints, I've been mocking Jeremiah Love here. And the thing is with Jeremiah Love, I really have a hard time picturing him getting past the Saints. If he does get past the Saints, I definitely could see him in Kansas City. I don't think he gets out of the top 10. If for some reason the Saints or Kansas City passes on them, I think Cincinnati will make a trade, and I think Dallas might just go from 12 to 10 to go ahead and grab them there. But Jeremiah Love, I really would be shocked if he gets past the Saints. I would not even be surprised if Kansas City, the Saints, makes a move up to 5. They take Jeremiah Love. I would say Dallas, but I don't think the Giants are going to make a move to try to get Dallas's draft picks, just an NFC East thing. Sometimes it doesn't matter. Sometimes teams don't mind trading in the division. I got a feeling the Giants aren't going to do that with Dallas. They're not going to do it for a running back, considering that Saquon Barkley was just absolutely awesome with Philly. So I don't see that. Kansas City, I meant to have a 9-round or a 7-round mock draft with the Kansas City Chiefs. I meant to have that out before I went live today. I wasn't able to do it. But this is kind of an interesting pick because if you take a look here, I do think Kansas City is interested in a defensive end, whether it's Reese, Bailey, or Bain. I mocked in my previous mock draft Ruben Bain going to Kansas City at 9. In this mock draft, he goes at 7. So I got Kansas City. Hey, Corey, I'm just glad you're here, brother. Thanks for support, man. I appreciate it. I got the Kansas City Chiefs here. I have a big man crush on Mekhi Lemon. I have a huge man crush. I really want to do this, but I'm going to go with Jordan Tyson instead. And the reason why I'm going Tyson instead of Lemon is upside. Now, Lemon does not have injury issues. Tyson does. But one thing about the NFL is that teams draft for upside. And I think the Kansas City Chiefs are going to just look at the Jordan Tyson upside, and they're going to say it's just too much to pass up. And I think that they're going to roll the dice with him. Where Jordan Tyson goes in this draft is going to be very interesting because he's missed games every single year he's been in college, but his ceiling's higher than any other receiver, I think by a large margin. I think he's significantly better. If you look at highlight reel material only, then Jordan Tyson's the best receiver in the draft. But there are red flags. You got to be comfortable with them, or you just have to be comfortable saying that, hey, I'm only going to play 12 to 15 games a year. So, Funk! The Chiefs are trash. The reign of terror is over. We will see. We will see. I got Jordan Tyson as the pick at 9. Funk, I am so glad to see you, brother. I'm interested to hear what you think about my Lions pick, but we got 7 more to go. 7 more to go. With the Cincinnati Bengals, I'm curious what their big board looks like because I could see a corner. I could also see a defensive tackle. I really think it's where their big board lies. I'm going to go defensive tackle here for And by the way, I have them taking Caden McDonald. I have them taking the local kid. The reason why is I think he's going to draft out of this world. I think he's just going to be. I think he's got a phenomenal combine. He's 320. He's 326. He does have some pass rush ability. I think he's going to do really well at the combine. I think after the combine, McDonald's going to be the number one defensive tackle in this draft. So, Funk, I'm just glad you're here, man. I'm so glad to see you, brother. After the live stream's over, I'm probably going to rebroadcast as a video, put chapters in. That way you can kind of just bounce around, just go to your favorite team. That way you don't have to watch or figure out, what every single pick is. If you just want to go, for example, to your Lions, I'll probably put some chapters in later on today. But, man, thank you so much for the love and support, man. I appreciate it. Keep in mind the Dolphins here could go in a couple different directions as well. Jeff Hafley takes over as the head coach. You also have a new general manager there. Just a hunch, Hafley started off as a defensive backs coach. Then he was the defensive coordinator, head coach at Boston College, back to being defensive coordinator, now the head coach. So I'm going to go with Mansour Delane here. I have no idea what the Dolphins are going to do, but just a hunch that they're going to go ahead and take the best available corner. They could go safety as well, but corner's usually a higher position. So I actually have no idea. There is a chance you could go Sonny Styles. You do a lot of different things here, but I'm going to go Mansour Delane here. That's just kind of my opinion. Dallas is interesting because I have no idea what Dallas is going to do. I'm just going to kind of spitball here. I think it's either Caleb Downs or Sonny Styles. I think it's one of those two. Keep in mind, and again, I'm going to keep repeating this over and over again, but when free agency hits, you're going to kind of find out what teams are going to do. Now, oh man, my first brain freeze because they took 3 years ago, they signed a former Ohio State Buckeye at safety. I'm having a brain freeze of who the player is. I remember I loved him coming out of Ohio State. I think he was the 14th overall pick. Was injured, really had some issues. If they re-sign him, and I'm just drawing a complete blank on who this player is. I'm very embarrassed. For those of you who don't know, if you're new to this, I get a brain freeze when it comes to names. I'm great with he went to Ohio State. I think he was the 14th overall pick. I'm just drawing a complete blank on his name. Malik Hooker. I had to look that up. I didn't. I had a brain freeze there. But Malik Hooker is a free agent. If he resigns, then it's definitely going to be Styles here. But if they let him walk, keep in mind he missed almost all of last year. But this is a guy that I loved coming out of Ohio State. He does have a lot of upside. If he resigns, then it's going to be Styles. But I think that they're going to go with Caleb Downs. Keep in mind, Nick Saban is very close to the Dallas Cowboys organization. He's very good friends with Jerry Jones. He was originally a Nick Saban prospect. As a true freshman, led Alabama in tackles. I think it was the first time a true freshman safety's ever done that, for a Nick Saban defense. Corey has Downs as his number one player overall. There's a lot of people that feel like if you just ignored position value, Downs is the best player in the draft. I have Dallas taking him here at 12. So sometimes what I do is I take a player in the draft that I want to see rather than what could happen. And this is going to be one of those cases because they could use a tackle. The Rams could use a tackle. They could use a corner. Some people think that they're going to take a quarterback. I'm not among those. Jermon McCoy has some injury issues. He missed all of last year. A lot of people feel like he's the best corner in the draft. but I think the injury issues are going to affect him. This is just I keep looking at this and it makes sense to me. I'll be honest with you, the Rams probably are not going to do this, but I keep seeing it. It makes sense. I'm going to go with Mekhi Lemon here for the Rams, and this may not be a popular pick, but Devontae Adams isn't getting younger, and here's the deal: they're both Devontae Adams and Nakuda are basically your old school X's, your outside guy. Lemon's your slot guy. Your offense, which was already fantastic, now becomes unstoppable. So again, this is a pick that maybe I want to see it more than what the Rams would do. The Rams, I'll level with you when everything's said and done. I don't think the Rams are picking at 13, but if they stick and pick, Lemon may be too good to pass up. I keep seeing more and more mock drafts where Lemon is a top 10 player. Lemon could easily be the pick at 9 with Kansas City. I just think Kansas City's going to roll with upside versus production. And I think that the local kid here for the Rams just made again, this might be what I want to do more than what the Rams want to do, but I really like the Lemon pick here. With Baltimore, I'm going to go with Sonny Styles here. And they do have not Trenton Simpson. I can't believe I forgot another name already. I can't believe one of my favorite players. He was 58. Now he's 0. Absolute stud at Georgia. And I can't believe I forgot his name. One of my favorite players in the NFL. Had a good season last year. I can't believe I'm forgetting his name. Raquan Smith. I'm so embarrassed I forgot Raquan Smith's name. So here's the drill. I forgot I forgot Raquan Smith's name. I'm so embarrassed. Had a slightly down year. You have a new defensive coordinator in Baltimore. Styles may just be too good to pass up. I hear people talking about him maybe going number 5 to the Giants. I don't think he is, because I do think he is going to be an inside linebacker. They had Trenton Simpson, the guy I loved coming out of Clemson. They got him in the 3rd round. Thought it was a genius pick because he could have gone in the 1st round, in my opinion. Didn't go there, but Styles may be just too good to pass up here at 14. For the Tampa Bay Bucks, they could go in a couple different directions here. I'm curious what they're going to do, but I'm going to go Cassius Howell out of Texas A&M. And the reason why I got them going Howell is that this is just your you got to get somebody to get after the quarterback. And the one thing I keep hearing over and over and over again is people saying, if you had one drive that you had to get a sack, Howell's probably in that conversation, be 1 or 2. The one thing about Tampa Bay, and there's a lot of things Tampa Bay I think needs, but they got to get somebody to get after the quarterback. I like Howell. Little undersized. I'm really curious how he's going to test out, but I feel very confident he's going to run and jump really well. I also, again, I'm going to keep saying this over and over again. It's very interesting to see what Tampa Bay is going to do in free agency. But I think that they really need to improve on the defensive side of the ball. The Jets at 16 now. They went ahead and took with their first pick. I bought into the Arville Reese hype, even though I would go receiver here. But here at 16, what you're going to do is you're going to just – I'm curious what their board looks like, because I think they're either going to take McCoy. They could take Terrell. keep in mind they traded away both their star defensive tackle and their star corner. So I think they go ahead and replenish either one of them here. It's going to be who's higher on your big board. Is it the defensive tackle or is it the corner? I don't think that they're going to draft a quarterback here. I think they'll address quarterback in free agency. It could be Kirk Cousins. I personally think that you could see my third name freeze already. I'm embarrassed about this. You could see the kid out of Arizona, but they're going to address quarterback in free agency. So I think that they're going to go with Peter Woods over McCoy, just because McCoy, for those of you who don't know, missed the whole season. A lot of people think that he's one of the best 6 to 10 players in the draft, but he didn't play last year, so I'm going to have him off the board for the, maybe not off the board, but I just think that if I'm the Jets, I'm going in another direction. With the Lions, I could go in a couple different directions. One thing about the Lions is they always throw me for a loop. I never know what the Lions are going to do. They're always an entertaining team. What they do is they have a specific draft board for players that they like. They really don't care what the rest of the NFL thinks. They don't care what draft geeks like myself care. They do their own thing. So I have no idea what they're going to do, but I'm going to go Keldrick Falk here. And if you're not familiar with him, I'm stealing this from Mel Kiper Jr. and that he's an LTPer and looks the part. He's 21, but he's a legit 6'5", 290. He may actually grow and be a defensive tackle eventually. Now, if you draft him, you're not getting double-digit sacks, okay? This is not your double-digit sack guy. This is a guy that's going to be a stud against the run. You could kick him inside, but you keep hearing the same thing about this kid. Great work ethic, great character, great kid. He's only 21, and that's a big plus. A lot of people think it doesn't matter if you're 21 or 25. It does matter. It's a huge thing. He's young. He's athletic. And again, this is the guy that when you walk off the team bus, this is the guy that you want walking off the team bus first. I mean, this is an impressive young man. He's going to measure in. He's going to be about 6'5", 290. He's not going to run a 4.6, and you don't expect him to. Not going to be a double-digit sack guy, but this is a guy that's going to massively improve your defense. I think Lions fans are going to love him, unless you're that box score guy that's going to say, whoa, he got 3.5, 4.5 sacks, but your run defense is about 10 spots better because of a kid like this. You're going to put him opposite Aiden Hutchinson, and this is also a guy that's going to be that on obvious passing downs, you can go ahead and kick him inside. I got a feeling the Lions are just going to love this kid. What the Lions do in the draft is interesting because they don't care what draft geeks say. They have their own board. They have their own thing. So we'll see what they do. The Minnesota Vikings, ever since I've mocked this, it's been getting more and more traction, but Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, I think, is the pick. And even if Harrison Smith comes back, I still think Warren's going to be the pick here. This is going to be a fun guy to watch. There is a chance he may even go before 18. Now, he's not going for downs, but I think he's going to make a case that he's going to be the clear-cut number 2 safety in this draft. This guy's, I think, going to measure really well to combine. He's been very impressive, has a ton of wow plays. Flores is going to have a lot of fun with this kid. They're going to use him all over. If they can talk Harrison Smith into coming back, I still think Warren's the pick. And Warren, even though he's got good size, I think he can play free safety and strong safety. He's going to be a chess piece that's going to be a lot of fun for the Minnesota Vikings. The Carolina Panthers, why do they say they need a receiver? I don't really know. I don't agree with that at all. And as far as defensive linemen, I don't agree with that. They need an edge rusher more than anything. I'm going to go TJ Parker here. They need somebody to get after the quarterback. I got a feeling TJ Parker, before the season started, people thought he was a top 10 player. Didn't have a great year. A lot of Clemson players didn't have a great year, but he went to the East-West All-Star game, looked really good. He's going to be very impressive at the combine. I think he's going to run and jump really, really well. He's going to measure in at over 260. He's going to be an impressive kid. Now, Dallas took Caleb Downs earlier, okay? They took Caleb Downs earlier. I could honestly see them taking McCoy, but one thing I want to point out is that Colton Hood played at Colorado under Deion Sanders, transferred to Tennessee, and I think they're going to go Hood over McCoy. And the reason why is that one thing about Dallas defensive backs is that they have injury issues. And by the way, I got a feeling Hood is a lot better than these other guys. Avion Terrell, of course, AJ Terrell's younger brother, is also interesting, could be the pick here. But I'm going to go Colton Hood here. It's kind of a curveball, but the one thing about the Dallas Cowboys is they have way too many injuries at the defensive back, both safety and corner. So I really firmly believe that what they're going to do is go more of a sure thing. Keep in mind, Deion Sanders is I said the same thing with Nick Saban. Deion Sanders, really close to the Cowboys organization. I got a feeling he's going to say a lot of good things about Hood. It wasn't a bad situation with Colorado. It was a money thing. You know, the Tennessee offered more money. I think Deion understood that. I think Deion is going to say a lot of really good things about this kid. So I think that even though PFF has him at 46, this is going to be a first round pick. This isn't where McCoy's head and shoulders better than Hood. I think a lot of NFL teams will have Hood rated above McCoy. I think that missing the whole year due to injuries is going to hurt unless McCoy tests out of this world at the combine, which he could. Pittsburgh, I got taken offensive tackle here. I got him going Caleb Lemieux. Spoiler alert, this is where I have a run of offensive linemen going off the board here. I'm going to kind of rapid fire here. I'm going to go Lemieux here. Here the Chargers, they're going to take Vega Elaine, the guard out of Penn State. I'm gonna go over this in a little more detail, but I am going to rapid fire this. With the Eagles, if you got a player from Georgia with a first round grade, that becomes an Eagle. He'll take over for at right tackle. Another name freeze. I am doing terrible today, but he'll be the future starting right tackle for the Philadelphia Eagles. Probably won't play that much this year. He played left tackle at Georgia. Some people feel like this is the best offensive lineman in the draft, Moreau Freeland. So that it's kind of interesting to see what teams feel, because Freeland could be the pick for the Steelers at 21. But I'm going to rapid fire these next two. Freeland here at 23. Cleveland, of course, they need some help at offensive line. They go ahead and take the big guy, Kalen Proctor. He's called a tackle here. I'm not sure he's going to play tackle. I think there's a very good chance that he's going to play guard, but we're going to find out. But again, I kind of want to just go over these real fast here. With Pittsburgh, I think Aaron Rodgers is going to stay. Okay, I think Aaron Rodgers is going to stay, and so they're going to lose. I think it's Broderick Jones, their starting left tackle. He's going to hit free agency. The reason why I say that is because they kind of moved him around. They benched him. Remember, he was the one that tackled Aaron Rodgers after a touchdown throw, and Rodgers was not happy with him. I'm not going to repeat what he said, but you could tell Rodgers was not happy with him. I think Rodgers is going to come back. I think Broderick Jones was not happy with his time at Pittsburgh. It'll be interesting because you do have a new regime there to see what happens. But I think Broderick Jones is going to hit free agency. I think he's going to get paid a lot because he has a lot of upside. I think you go ahead and you can take whoever you think is going to be the best left tackle. A lot of people think Lemieux could be I've seen him going in the top 10. As a matter of fact, I've seen a lot of mock drafts where he goes to Kansas City at 9. So whoever Pittsburgh has as the highest rated offensive tackle, that's going to be the guy. They need somebody who's going to be a day one starter. With the Chargers, I think whoever is the highest rated guard, Zion Williamson didn't really pan out. He's a guy I'd like to see him go to somewhere else because I loved him coming out of Boston College. Didn't really pan out. They have another guy, Jamar Saley, who played a little bit of tackle. He was actually a tackle at Georgia, kicked inside in the NFL, but did play some left tackle, and he played really well. For some reason, he's in the doghouse with the Chargers. If you're a Chargers fan, please tell me why, because from what I've seen, he's a really, really good player. But they want to move on, so whoever's highest rated guards left on the board, that will be the pick for the Chargers. Eagles, I can't believe I'm forgetting his name. This is like my 9th name freeze. I can tell you right now, he was a former tight end who went to Oklahoma. I remember because the Chiefs were interested in it. Lane Johnson. I can't believe I forgot his name. I'm embarrassed. One thing that Philly likes to do is they like to draft players for next year, not this year. So the Lane Johnson replacement and Monroe Freeland, a lot of people think is maybe the best left tackle in this draft. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens. And then Caden Proctor, I've seen a few mock drafts where he goes to Kansas City at 9. I wouldn't hate that, but I think it's a little too high. His weight is an issue. I'm not sure he plays tackle. He may be a guard. We'll have to see what happens here. The Bears at 25. I think that here's the deal. They may take Caleb Banks here. I do think they go defensive tackle. I got them taking Lee Hunter instead. Lee Hunter had a fantastic Senior Bowl. This is a massive, massive dude who I think will just be awesome for the Bears defense. Buffalo could go Banks here. I think they do need a defensive tackle, but he only played in 3 games this year. I'm going to go Denzel Boston here because Denzel Boston probably should be a top 15 pick. There's Ted McMillan, who went 5th overall last year. A couple of years ago, Drake London went 8th overall. Denzel Boston's that type of player. To be honest with you, I wasn't that high on Ted McMillan. I wasn't high on him at all. It proved me wrong. And Denzel Boston, I think, might actually be better. So having him go at 26 is almost insulting. I'm probably going to have to redo this draft. And if I do a mock draft with trades, I will have somebody trading up for Boston. There's no way he should go 26. He's same caliber player Drake London is, except Drake London missed the last 4 games of his senior, or I think it was his junior year at USC. Should be available. Really, I'm sorry, should not be available here. Bills get an absolute steal here at 26. 49ers, this is my craziest pick in the draft. I keep doing this, and I'm going to keep doing it because I love it. Keep in mind when John Lynch won a Super Bowl, he did it with an undersized linebacker who was able to get ton of turnovers. Ignore the 94 here. PFF doesn't know what he's talking about. More than likely, he'll go in the 2nd round, but Jacob Rodriguez as the pick here. Keep in mind, they were down to like their 3rd string linebackers in the playoffs. Fred Warner, I believe, will come back, but it'll be 30. I still think he can play for another couple of years. I'm not saying you're drafting a replacement. You're drafting somebody to go along with him. This guy is going to be, I think he's going to test out really well. He's going to interview really well. Just watch the tape. If you watch tape alone, Jacob Rodriguez is probably a top 10 to 15 player. Why PFF has him as the 7th best linebacker, just another example why PFF doesn't know what they're doing. Caleb Banks, I keep saying this over and over again, could be the pick, but I got them going KC Conception here. When I look at the Houston Texans, I said this over and over and over again last year. I really thought that this was probably one of the best defenses I think maybe the best defense I've seen in the last 25 years since the Bucs defense that won the Super Bowl. Their defense is that good. Once Nico Collins went down, I think Stroud just didn't really feel comfortable with what they got. Keep in mind, Tank Dell could come back. Christian Kirk missed a lot of the season, but if I am the Houston Texans, I need to get somebody. KC Conception, really good player, also going to help in a return game. Keep in mind, they feel confident Tank Dell is going to come back, and they think Christian Kirk. They're not worried about his availability. They could go in a different direction. They could go defense, possibly. All these guys are pretty good. They could go Sadiq, but I don't think they're that creative offensively. So I think they'll go with KC Conception. Can help in the return game. Could play inside or outside. If you're a Houston Texans fan, you're really going to like this kid. You're really going to like this kid. Him, Christian Kirk, Nico Collins. You got plenty of weapons for C.J. Stroud. The Rams, this is where Gerald McCoy goes. Keep in mind, if you're the Rams and, you pick offense, maybe you go tackle here, then you don't go corner. I think here's a perfect spot for rolling the dice on McCoy. Some people think that he's going to go maybe top 10. I don't think that. I think the injury issues are going to cause him to slide in this draft. And I think the Rams just hit a home run here. Denver Broncos, if Kenyon Sadiq is available, I actually firmly believe Denver will trade up. I'll even show you where I think they could trade up at. I think they could trade up with Philly, possibly Dallas. Dallas doesn't have a second-round pick, if I remember correctly. But that's kind of where I see Denver trying to trade up because I think that they really want to get this kid. So Kenyon Sadiq's going to be the pick. When they went ahead and signed Evan Ingram, injured, really wasn't the guy that they thought that they could do. They call it the quote-unquote joker role. Kenyon Sadiq's going to be perfect for that. Early on in the mock draft process, I kept on seeing him going to Kansas City. His lack of length is going to hurt him. I think he's going to measure in at like 6'2", 240. He's really going to be more of a bulked up receiver than tight end, and that's why I think he's going to be available at 30. With New England, I'm going to go C.J. Allen, but I want to talk about this real fast. When you talk about C.J. Allen, the one thing that C.J. Allen's about 6'1", 235. He's an undersized guy, but he plays bigger. You have to be comfortable if you're Mike Vrabel, because when Mike Vrabel was winning Super Bowls with New England, his inside linebacker was Dante. Was it Dante Foreman? No, it wasn't Dante Foreman. He was the Dante Freeman. I'm drawing a blank on the last name. Dante Foreman's a Texas running back, but is Dante something? I can't. Another name freeze here. I apologize. I should be better. But he was about 6'4", 260. And Mike Vrabel played at about 260. And one thing about Belichick is he's always liked big, physical inside linebackers. C.J. Allen's not that. And so if you draft C.J. Allen, which I have the Patriots doing, it shows a philosophy change on the defensive side of the ball that you're going with faster, lighter players at the linebacker position. Hightower, thank you. Dante Hightower, thank you. Thanks, Funk. And he was like he was built like a defensive end, Dante Hightower. And during the course, I remember one time as a practical joke, because Bill Parcells kept on talking, or I'm sorry, not Bill Parcells, but Bill Belichick kept on talking about the Giants linebackers, Harry Carson, Carl Banks, again, big physical guys. He showed up in Giants practice gear because he was just frustrated hearing about the Giants linebackers. And his philosophy's been the same. He likes bigger physical linebackers. So if you draft CJ Allen at 31, you're switching your philosophy. And keep in mind, as a player in both at Tennessee and New England, he's had bigger physical inside linebackers. So by drafting a guy like CJ Allen, you're changing the way you think to kind of adapt with a passing league. And if the Patriots and Vrabel decide to do this, it's a smart move. It's saying, hey, we're going to change with the times. And sometimes it's hard to do because he was part of 3 Super Bowl teams that had 260-pound linebackers. So now you're going to a guy who's 230. Can you make that change? I think you can, but it is questionable whether you would want to do that if you're the New England Patriots. But their starting inside linebackers are going to hit free agency. Spillane's a guy I love, not an athlete. CJ Allen is probably going to run like in the 4.5s. Another thing is that when you interview him, he's going to interview really, really well. A lot of people think that he's the best pure linebacker in this draft because Arvell Reese they see as a hybrid defensive end. Edge Styles they also see as a possible future, maybe future defensive end. Actually, Styles, if you call him just pure inside linebacker, would be the best. But CJ Allen would reflect a change in the New England philosophy. And is Vrabel going to be able to do that? I think he is. I think he's going to say, hey, listen, we're going to be faster, more athletic in the front 7. We're going to make some changes on the defensive side of the ball. Keep in mind, it was the offensive side of the ball that failed, but I think that's coaching. I think it's coaching. Keep in mind, Campbell, who received a lot of criticism, it didn't really look like. Keep in mind, like he had a bad injury, missed almost the last, I want to say, month and a half of the regular season. In the playoffs, he did struggle, but is it a health issue? Is it a technique issue? You got to think about these things. But I personally don't think that's going to be an issue. Could you draft a tackle here? Maybe, but I really, really doubt it. I just think that what you're seeing here with New England is Vrabel making the change to get faster, smaller, lighter on the front 7. And if this ends up being the pick, I think Patriots fans are going to love this guy. Barring injury, I think he's going to have 120 some tackles. You're going to love this kid. He is smaller. He plays bigger, and he's going to test out really, really well. It was funny. Right before I went on, I answered a comment to a Seahawks fan who proved me wrong because I picked the Patriots in the Super Bowl. Probably shouldn't admit that, but we both kind of agree with Tyreek Woolen's going to probably hit free agency, and I think that they're going to use this draft pick to replace one of the starters they're going to lose. You're probably going to lose Kobe Bryant, the safety. Could you draft a safety here? Yeah, you could, but I think they're going to use Tyreek Woolen. You're also going to lose Boy Mafe. And is there a chance you could do Caleb Banks? Absolutely. This is a very deep edge rushing class. Nakeem Mesor could be the perfect fit. Mason Thomas is a guy I love. Gabe Jacobs is another guy. Zion Young, I've seen a lot of mock drafts where he goes in the first round. LT Overton, I originally had him going to New England at 31. He's ranked here at 49. Most mock drafts have him going in the second round. I think he could be a first-round player. He's not really a tackle. He's not really an edge. It's going to be interesting to see how teams view him. I'm talking about LT Overton because I'm seeing he's going to be like 6'4", 285, where he's too small to be a defensive tackle. He's too big to be a defensive end. I want to see how he tests out and how our team's going to look at him. But I originally had him going to New England because he'd be kind of the kind of chess piece, bigger outside linebacker. And that's kind of what way I saw him going to New England, where he'd be just like Vrabel was, where, he plays outside linebacker, but he's really more of a pure defensive end. You kind of have positionless football, but what is Seattle going to do here? But I have them taking Avion Terrell. That's been kind of my pick, and I think that he's going to be a day one starter. By the way, this is what happens. Keep in mind, I am going to download this. I'm going to post this on social media, but I'm going to go over this with everybody here. Let me see here. I wonder if this is posted. Okay, good. I want Overton here in Detroit, play opposite of Hutch. That would not be a bad pick. That's actually not a bad pick at all. I picked Falk because I keep hearing the same thing over and over and over again about Kendrick Falk, is that they love his work ethic. They love his attitude. I think he's going to be a quote-unquote Dan Campbell type of guy. Very raw pass rush ability, but that's kind of my thought process is the reason why with Falk. But as well as I do, Funk, Detroit, they go by the beat of a different drum, and I have no idea what they're going to do. They could trade up, they could trade down. Come draft time, Detroit's one of my favorite teams. Same thing with the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, they picked 12 and 20. Who knows what they're going to do, but they're going to be fun. Same thing with Detroit. They're going to be a very fun team. As a Chiefs fan, I'm happy, for the first time in a long time. Actually, I wonder if I can. Oh, okay, here it is. It's the first time in a long time I can see Chiefs are picking in the top 10. Hopefully they won't do it again, but I just go over this again. Arville reset too, and I cannot emphasize this enough. I would not do this if I was the Jets. I would not take a guy who's an off-ball linebacker or a chess piece. I don't care what he tests out at. I would go receiver here, but I keep seeing this over and over and over again. When there's smoke, there's fire. So I think this is probably what's going to happen, but I would not do this. Arizona, another team. I think that Arizona is going to take whoever they think is the best tackle at 3. I would go in a different direction. If I was Arizona, I would build the defensive line from hell first, and then after I build the defensive line from hell, then I would go back and try to make some changes on there. You could get a possible guy to start in round 2 on the offensive line. Of course, you could say the same thing. There's some really good edge rushers still available that you can get. You can get day one starter at defensive end, but that's my thought process. I love David Bailey to Tennessee. If you saw the comments earlier, Corey, a.k.a. the Red Sea, firmly believes that Bailey's character issues are going to cause him to free fall in this draft. I don't think so. I don't think they're as bad as Corey thinks, but we're going to find out. Some NFL teams aren't going to like it. If I do a mock draft with trades, the first trade will probably come at 5. I can see a situation where maybe Kansas City wants to jump up from 9 to 5. There is a possibility if a team wants an offensive lineman or maybe Delane. I'm not sure, but like out of the first 4 teams in the draft. I'm pretty confident it's going to go in this order. I think 5 is where you could see the first trade. 6 is a possibility as well. With my Kansas City Chiefs, I love Mekhi Lemon. I would not be at all upset or angry if the Chiefs went Lemon over Tyson. One thing about the NFL is that they usually will go over potential over production. You have to be okay with the injury issues, but I think he's going to clear medically. I think some teams are going to say, hey, listen, we have an issue with you missing a couple games. I think other teams are going to say, you know what, if you're healthy, 12 to 15 games out of the year, we're good with that. His upside is too much to handle. The Bengals at 10, it's really going to be who's highest on their draft board. I have no idea what their big board's going to say. I have a feeling McDonald's going to test out really, really well. Keep in mind he played in an NFL defense at Ohio State, so I feel very confident that McDonald's worthy of a top 10 pick. Not everybody's going to agree with that. It could be Delane. It could be Downs. It could be Sonny. I don't think it's going to be Sonny Styles because they drafted a pair of inside linebackers last year. The Bengals are a team I could also see trading down. I could also see them going offensive line. I have no idea what the Bengals are going to do. I just know that the defense is really bad. McDonald's a day one starter, makes everybody on that front seven better. So the Bengals are going to be a fun team during draft time. Same thing with the Miami Dolphins. I have no idea what they're going to do. I just know Hafley started off as a secondary coach, then made the transition to defensive coordinator. Delane's a guy. His combine is going to be huge. Lions fans don't want to hear this. Batiste Tabor looked like he was going to be top 10 corner, had a terrible combine, even a worse pro day, went late in the second round, and everything that showed up in the combine showed up in the NFL, ended up being out of the NFL in I think it was like 3 years. The Rams at 13, taking a receiver. Yeah, I know. I think it's just too good to pass up. Where Sonny Styles goes in the draft is going to be very, very interesting. I think the floor is 15 at Tampa Bay. He doesn't get past Tampa. The Jets could go corner. I just think Woods is higher. I talked about this before. The Lions, nobody knows what the Lions are going to do. I think that they like Falk, though. The one thing I want to point out, 21 through 24, all offensive linemen. I really think that you're going to see a run of offensive linemen 21 through possibly 21 through 26. I'd be shocked. I think the Bears need help more on the defensive side of the ball. They could also go offensive line here. But I think between 21 and 26, you're going to see a lot of offensive linemen. Buffalo may even go offensive line. Denzel Boston should not go at 26. There is a good chance I could see Denzel Boston going all the way to Tampa Bay at 15. Denzel Boston could easily go to Baltimore at 14 as well. I just absolutely hate the fact that I got Denzel Boston going 26. Gerald McCoy, I think the injury issue is going to scare people. That's why I got him going all the way down 29. He could easily be the pick over Colton Hood at 20. Keep in mind, Colton Hood did play at Colorado. I think Dion's going to say some good things about him. Hood's also going to test out really well to combine. Just watch out. But if McCoy tests out really well, you could easily flip-flop the 2 Tennessee corners and have McCoy going here to Dallas and Hood going here. Actually, you could have Terrell going to the Rams at 29. I wouldn't be mad at that at all. Kenyon Sadiq is a guy, I think his lack of height is going to bother some people. Todd McShay, I heard say some discouraging things about him. And ever since I've heard those discouraging things said about Kenyon Sadiq, I've kind of been dropping him in my mock draft all the way to 30. He could actually fall out of round 1, even though he's the number 1 tight end in this draft. There are some decent tight ends, and I think that you're going to see one drafted in rounds 3, 4, and 5 that's going to end up being a starter. But Sadiq, I think going to measure out at like 6'2", 240 something. He's got to run well. There is some talk that he may run in the low 4.5s. I'm not so sure, but we'll find out. If he tests well at the combine, I think Denver would focus on him, and I can see them maybe trading up, maybe as high as 20. Dallas is a team I think that could be interested in trading down at 20. Dallas, again, they're a fun team come draft time. I'd C.J. Allen to the Patriots at 31. I talked about this earlier. Again, this would mark a regime, maybe not regime change, but a style change, because Vrabel's always like bigger linebackers. Vrabel himself's a bigger linebacker, and he won 3 Super Bowls with an inside linebacker who was 260, not 230. So in fact the Patriots do make this move, it's kind of telling that they're going to kind of change with the times. And Terrell, I think is a first-round player. I actually had him right. I had him drafted higher in previous mocks, but I just couldn't find a spot for him other than 32. So that's all I have. Later on today, I'm probably going to go ahead and redraft this redo this as a video, put the chapters in. That way you can kind of just bounce around to your favorite team. You don't have to watch the whole hour mock draft. You can just go to your favorite team. Thank you so much for joining me for Mock Draft Wednesday. Later this week should be my 7-round mock Chiefs draft, and I hope to see you back next Wednesday. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you next week.